you ready, yeah?
This is Hades.
Yeah, what's this, John?
This is Hades. No, actually, I got that wrong. He's a son of the Omen from Inbred Trilogy, which is the old 1-4 pigeons, crossed with a pigeon from Terry McCrudden, who also raced the old Planet Brothers lines, washing Gel, we call her. I can show you this hen. You know, I showed you that late bred from Spitfire and Opal in there.
Yeah.
This is the yearling hen from that couple from the year before, late bred, but she's never been paired. But this cock, sorry, while you're doing that, one of the main pigeons in the sow is from this cock. It's a daughter from this cock.
He's my favourite pigeon, hands down.
You haven't seen the rest of them.
Yeah.
He's Ethan's favourite as well. I know he is.
So far. But this is actually a daughter of Opal and Spitfire. But this is she's never been paired. She was a late bred. She'll be paired this year.
We love the Nick, Matt.
But that young baby will be like her next year.
Yeah.
The checker.
Yeah, they're really
one you
really
picked
small
up
late bred. But you see how they've changed.
Yeah.
In 1 year. And the fact that she wasn't paired up this year has helped, you know.
Oh, I know, the checker hen.
Yeah, the little one, yeah.
Still have 3
But we
next
kept them two together for 2 years. We paired Spitfire with...
I know you like her already.
Check this out. He's looking well though. So,
That's the same way bred as the checker hen, the late bred.
So the father of this is one of our number one cock at the moment.
Yeah.
He's the like the father and grandfather of nearly all the top pigeons, the Van Loon pigeons. Yeah.
yeah.
This is typical. When you look at that pigeon, it's a typical Planet Van Loon. You know, the small head on the hens, medium to small size.
Yeah.
Perfect in the hand, nicely balanced. You see, she's already got a nice step in her wing and everything.
Yeah.
She'll be a lovely hen. Lovely breeding hen.
She was late bred last year as well.
This was a late bred from last year, yeah.
Yeah. You
So
said
we literally just left her in the loft to let her mature. She was too young to pair. You could have paired, but I think at that age it's better in the long run to leave them that year. A lot of people don't pair up hens. Youngsters, they leave them here. A lot of people do, and I think in the long run, it is better for them.
Yeah.
But obviously, you miss a year with youngsters. I'd love to have our youngsters on the race team this year, but you know.
Pays to be patient.
Yeah.
Definitely. Now, this is a purebred, very inbred Van Loon hen. Now this is Bella, and she's the mother of one of the main pigeons in the sale at the auction. This is typical of the old strain of Van Loon. She is actually identical to her grandmother. She's like a spitting image. Grandmother was a pigeon called Super Dream, which was a granddaughter of Dream Girl.
Yeah, so it's a sister of Scrumpy, Dream Girl, which is the one who bred the 083 and 049 in America, which paired to Super 73, bred the whole line of winners. They call the Super 73s legacy. But yeah, it's a mix. It's the blend of all the Scrumpy and 1-4 pigeons. It's the best of them.
But the father of her is a pigeon we call Bullion, and he is one of the closest pigeons to the original golden pair that we have on the loft in England at the moment. And this is a direct daughter of him, paired with Super Blau.
Yeah.
No,
which is from a pigeon, Super Dream and Little 1-4, who also was a grandson of 1-4. So this is really, really as inbred and as good as you can get from our loft at the moment. This hen.
strong one minute.
Yeah, she's just a terrific breeding hen. Terrific breeding hen. She's got a nice size to her as well, which is not always common with the Vanus. They're normally nice, very small, petite hens. So when you get a roomy hen like that, it's good.
Yeah, in 1982, when 05 bred Scrumpy, the nestmate to Scrumpy was Sure Return, that went on to win 18 first, and he was injured. He got badly injured, so he was stopped at an early age anyway. And then obviously one of the 4 pigeons, the other one was Dream Girl and her sister. The sister of Dream Girl, we didn't pair her up a lot, and we didn't really breed from her for a lot. She sat on the stock loft for a few years, but obviously the 3 main pigeons, Dream Girl, Sure Return and Scrumpy, they went on to breed tons and tons of winners.
She's stunning.
Stunning pigeon, isn't it?
That's stunning.
They're very wanted in China, these pigeons. The Super 73 pigeons, they call them, due to the cock that was paired to the 2 children out of Dream Girl. They're it's a very famous line in China.
Yeah.
For the fast middle distance pigeons.
You think, Darren?
Really nice.
I know this one.
So this is the old boy we have here. Gifted 2. Now this is a grandson of the original champion Scrumpy. And him at the moment is one of the foundation pigeons on the loft.
Direct son of Lucky, which was the last child of Scrumpy that died on the loft a few years ago.
And also one of the best, you think?
Yeah, probably
one
was
of the best
one.
children.
Yeah, one of the best children out of Scrumpy. I mean, obviously, many years ago, when Scrumpy was in his prime and bred the pigeons, there were some outstanding pigeons. But he bred this pigeon, the father of this pigeon, when he was 18 years old.
Yeah.
So naturally, when we say Lucky was one of the best, he was one of the best of the older ones that were bred from Scrumpy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But his children now, we don't raise the children from him anymore. They go straight into the breeding shed. But we have the mother of him is a 2010 hen, and we have brothers of him, half brothers. And I think Perfection, our best youngsters this year, was bred from a half brother of this cock. So they're still.
I mean, the really heavy wattle isn't necessarily a trait of the Van Loons. They're not normally very heavy wattled like him. But as they get old, they tend to get heavy wattled. More so with the Scrumpy pigeons. But he's heavier than most.
He looks stunning.
He could do with trimming up, but I don't know how to do it. He needs a bit of laser work doing on him.
Bit of less work.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, they're doing really good Nick Man as well. You know.
He's 2011.
2011. You don't see it nowadays either, you know.
Yeah, so he's 11 years old, but he's got a lot in him, left in him, I think. He'll probably be filling his eggs up until he's about 16.
Yeah.
Certainly that's what we would expect from him, which obviously most people, if they're 11, would probably say he's finished now, but he's not finished by a long way.
You can feel it straight away.
He still breeds super pigeons. But we only breed 4 or maybe 6, 2 of which what might be unsat.
His body feels like a 5-year-old.
We'll only breed 6 a year out of him.
His body feels like a 5-year-old, doesn't it?
Yeah.
There's
He's a little
no
bit
loss
deeper
there.
than some of the other pigeons. He does carry that little bit of kill with him. Whereas the Spitfire pigeons are nice.
While we're
and
looking
shallow.
at Gifted 2, I'll show you one of his best. This is one of his best breeding daughters. This is Nike 2. from Gifted 2 and Nike. And Nike has a little bit of the alien pigeons,
Yeah,
and
she
down
got
from the exterminator pigeons.
Exterminator.
But he was a terrific racer, won 33 firsts. And this hen is she's from 2015, but she's already a proven breeding hen.
What do you think of him, Dan?
Really
Beautiful
nice.
wireless hen.
Yeah. So that's father and daughter.
Father and daughter. Gifted 2, Nike 2. She's looking at me, look at the camera.
She's stunning, that. Wow. China. Same again.
Yeah, she's really takes after him a lot, this hen.
Just looking constantly, aren't they? Like,
Yeah, she's a very knowing pigeon, very inquisitive pigeon. She's always one of them pigeons you walk in the shed and she's walking round your feet. And she watches what you're doing all the time, even if it's just scraping out.
yeah.
So she's a very knowing pigeon. And it's, sometimes you get that when they just want a peanut or something, but she actually does it all the time. So you grow fond to them when they're like that. And also with the hens, they tend to be very close to you in that sense. And even though it's a stock hen, they're still like that. So they've got that nice way with them, what is very good for when you're racing them also.
So while we're looking at these pigeons, I'll show you a half brother of Gifted 2. This is Dream Boy. Now we have, for the first time as well, we're going to be selling a youngster from this cock on Elite Auctions. And we have 2 brothers, which are from the same mother as Gifted 2, from Bonnie Lass. One is called Bonnie Lad, and this one is called Dream Boy. And we think these are going to be 2 of the future best breeding pigeons. But they're actually half brothers of the old Gifted 2 pigeon.
What's that, man?
And one of these bred, I think, our best youngster this year. But obviously the difference is this pigeon is from, I mean, this is a 3-year-old pigeon. So obviously he has a youth and a lot of years with this cock, hopefully. He's named after the old Dream Girl line, that's where the mother comes from.
You touch longer, eh?
You're still in her age a little bit.
But this is just really the pigeons that we think can do the races up from the complete program. This is really what we're looking for, you know.
One thing with the Van Loon pigeon is they're very consistent pigeons, you know. Honest pigeons is what we like to call them. And when we thought about getting a good one-day pigeon, it doesn't matter whether it's a 300-mile race, if it turns into a hard race. they'll still be there, you know. And so up to 500 miles, 750 kilometres, these are perfect pigeons. And as I say, every type of wind, every type of day, you can rely on them. And that's the one thing, they're not a pigeon that'll be there one week and not the next. They're always been consistent. Yeah. And it's the one thing that really drew us to them initially, because you know, when they start winning, they'll continue to win. Yeah. And that's why you get that, you know, multiple prize winners out of them. They're not one-hit wonders. And that's what we found. Everyone has said the same, that once they get a good one, it just gets better and better as they continue racing it. And then so many of them go on to be fantastic producers. So when you get breeding pigeons and racing pigeons all rolled into one, they're the perfect pigeon. And you know, class just shows in them.
This is a direct cross femoline clock femoline.
Bit more distance.
Yeah, you can see this hen has a little bit different stamp on her, but this is actually a daughter of opal. This is new opal, but she's actually crossed with Urbanus, one of the principal femoline clocks, and you can see just a little bit that strain of pigeon has given to the birds. Little slight difference in the wing.
Takes longer.
But these birds are just more comfortable as well. They are more comfortable on a longer flight, you know, when we're looking at national flights, 500 kilometre, 300 mile. I mean, this cross here is excelling at that distance. Not just completing it, but excelling. But this is a really stunning hen. One of the new, I would say one of the new top breeded hens.
Different.
Yeah.
Different.
And this is one of them, principal from the new family of femoline clock. This is one of the direct pigeons. This is a pigeon was called Crack. He's called Crack. And this is an example of the pigeons that we brought in to cross with the old strain of Van Loon.
He's down from the lieutenant?
From a pigeon called Wintertoe, which is down from the lieutenant pigeons. Yeah. That really is the foundation of his birds. And that pigeon won the long distance ace bird.
The ace bird
in Antwerp.
2000?
In 2000, yeah. So it's an old pigeon when they have the big numbers, but everything from him is inbred down from really that pigeon. But you can see this offers just something a little bit different. But it's still, I mean, we think this is an exceptional pigeon, you know.
It's very slightly different, but
they're slightly different, but what they bring to the Van Loon, I mean, this is an example of the cross of the two families.
Yeah.
And what they've brought from a racing perspective to the family is just, you know, we like to think they've helped him. The Van Loons to them to the Van Loons have just combined to create a superior pigeon that can excel across the board.
The one thing about the Rhine clock pigeons is they're much lighter in their body. You know, they tend to have a smaller type frame, and they're also very buoyant, I suppose is the word, and it makes them very easy to condition.
Yeah.
You know,
And they're very active, so they will keep fit. You know, you see some of these cocks bouncing about all day, and when you let them out, they'll exercise well.
Yeah,
they're just so easy to condition. It's just when we went and looked at these pigeons, this was just something that we'd not seen for a very, very long time in these birds. And we like to also have something that nobody has.
Yeah, they've got their super characteristics. You know, they are characters, and they're very active in the loft. You know, sometimes it's annoying, but
they can cause problems.
They can cause problems. They're aggressive, the cocks.
I mean, I have one pigeon in England. I cannot put a box next. He has to have 3 boxes below, to the right.
Yeah.
But what can you do? You know, if he's happy, he's happy. But you put a pigeon next to him, he will hate it. You know, but he was a Woodward cock racer, wasn't he? He raced Woodward cocks, so the cocks are very, very strong. Yeah. And he, I think, relied a lot with the intelligence of the pigeons.
Yeah, he did.
And you can see that in the birds. Yes. Even when they're looking, you see how knowing they are.
So he's 10 years old now, this pigeon. So, you know, again, we're hoping that they're like the Van Loans. They go on for many years, breeding good pigeons.
Just got a question, Gary. Dave Zerk's asked, have you introduced any Gearing's pigeons?
We do have one pigeon which we bought from Herman Beaverdam, which was from a gearing pigeon, which is Herman Beaverdam's #1 pair. Yeah. The Whittycock Sylvester with the gearing's hen, and it has been very, very successful for us.
Is that crossed with the Van Loons?
It would be crossed with the Van Loons, or any one of the families for that matter. They do make really good. It's an exceptional line of pigeons, that particular pair. They've bred loads and loads of very big winners, you know, with high birdages. The Beaverdam pigeon, John, is the Gearing's pigeon, isn't it? The Whittycock Sylvester pigeon.
He's a grandson of Whittycock.
Yeah, it's only the one pigeon we've got, but it is a very good one.
Yeah, I can show you him. He's here. He's actually the father of the second national zone winner.
Yeah.
He was one of the first pigeons I showed you.
Oh yeah.
I'm just going to show you her. This is the mother of Blue Daisy. This is Daisy. She's actually a half sister of this cock. This is another direct gen cock pigeon. I think this is one of the best they've got.
Yeah.
You can see they're
The
related.
hens are very strong with the Van Loan pigeons.
She's feeling her age a little bit, but you can still see the quality, you know. Yeah, these are the direct gen cock pigeons.
You can see them, they can go that little bit further than...
A little bit further, they just add that something else to the pigeons, you know. I mean, we like to think we bought them to try to improve, always look to improve the pigeons, what we've got, you know.
You can tell they're a family, can't you?
They're nice on the eye as well.
And they have really, really beautiful eyes.
Yeah.
You find with a lot of distance pigeons, they do have terrific eyes, some of them, you know.
Yeah. I mean, I like to think that it's the Van Loon pigeons that's going to improve the Rhine clock pigeons.
Yeah.
But as time is going on, you know, it's equally.
I think they both offer something
equally as good. Yeah.
They've both offered something.
Which is really nice.
I really like it. To be fair. You say he's more distance as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know, I mean,
he's small but big.
This hen, her daughter, she won the ace on a short middle distance pigeon. You know.
Yeah.
She won what I think three firsts on 200 kilometres. So.
You like the eyes on?
Yeah.
The difference. Some long distance pigeons do not score on speed races, but these score on speed races.
You can tell though with obviously how strong they are at wing and what have you, can't you? But they are a lot smaller, aren't they? Not smaller in size, but just smaller in buoyancy and frame, yeah.
It's just for years and years we tried to find the perfect cross for the old family, and we've looked.
The reason we've not
everywhere,
introduced
we've gone to
anything,
different
we couldn't
lofts.
find nothing.
Non-commercial lofts, commercial lofts, it doesn't matter to us where we go as long as we can find something that will bring something different and special to the family. And I mean, look, some people may not think so. We believe this is really brought something special to the family as a whole, you know.
Yeah. I mean, when
To the Say Planet Brothers pigeon rather than just the Van Loon pigeon. It's
when you've got a good family of pigeons, it makes it easy to introduce new pigeons because you've got to look for something that is equally as good or if not better. Yeah. And it's hard to find when you've got a good family. So we have been looking for many, many years, but we just couldn't find the right pigeons. And we're not going to put pigeons into them just because they're fashionable and because it might make them sell better if they've got, i.e. a bit of something else in them. You know, we went for pigeons that we thought were the most suitable, and they wasn't necessarily the most well known at the time. You know, people would say they'd seen their day, but as time has proven, when you get pigeons like this, you know, it is a matter of waiting and introducing when the time is right and when the pigeons are good enough, and not just for the sake of that's what's fashionable at the time. You know. So we waited for many years. My father tried to buy these pigeons off of Ryan Clock when he was alive, when we just introduced the Van Loons. We went there and he refused to sell us any pigeons. Only from the point of view, the pigeons that my dad wanted to buy, he wasn't prepared to sell. Yeah. So we walked away from there and never bought a pigeon. So
there's
what
a little
might
bit of
have
history
been,
there. That's
what
the thing
might
as
have
well,
been,
why we go back, and there's another reason why we've gone into.
And 35
these pigeons,
35 years later, we returned to buy the whole lot.
Yeah.
So it was like ironic, really. Yeah. You know. But,
and that wasn't anything to link with what your dad had passed. It was just what you found at the time.
Well, I mean, obviously, I was immediately drawn to the opportunity because when they said we've got a loft that may be up for sale, I said, who is it? And he said, Wine Clock. I knew straight away because I was there, taken there as a kid. And it's one of the few lofts that we walked away from. Yeah. Because with me dad, if he couldn't buy what he wanted, he walked away. He didn't say, okay, I'll have some youngsters, I'll have this, or wanted to. He wouldn't wait, he was impatient. Yeah. If a person showed him a pigeon and he wanted to buy it and they wouldn't sell it, he walked away from it. And I think that's important also because so many lofts, you go there, they've got a fantastic family of pigeons, but you can't buy them pigeons. You can buy children off of them. And then when you look at what they've produced for others and whether they're winning for others, it's not always the case. You know, it's already, the family is already on the decline. So you have to go for something that is currently winning and producing winners. And if you can't get them where they've got that little bit of history, you have to then try and get the original pigeons. Yeah. And quite often people are not prepared to sell them, and I don't blame them for that. But as I say, we walked away from this loft many, many years ago, and it was again fate that we ended up going back there. And when we got them, they were not in fantastic condition, you know, and it took a little while for us to go through the pigeons, select the pigeons, find out what works with our pigeons. But as I say, it's we would have liked to have seen them in their prime when we bought them, but then maybe they wouldn't have been for sale at that point in time. Yeah. So you know, you have to be grateful for what you get at the time.
Yeah. The Spitfire.
One sec, John.
So this is the main breeding cock here at the moment. Spitfire, purebred Van Loon. From Superboy and Aquarius, inbred 1-4 Scrumpy.
He's a looker, isn't
he? Yeah, he not only produces it, he does look the part. It helps. Yeah, it does help when they look nice.
Moving on first.
Just show him the son of Spitfire, the brother to the one we saw.
He's in another loft. I will get him before they go. I'll show him. It's hard to now top this pigeon with another pigeon, but show my daughter.
Same again, 11 pigeon. It feels.
Yeah, he
Five-year-old,
don't
yeah.
handle like 11-year-old.
Better than some of the yearlings,
He's not.
to be fair.
He's not
just
deep at
incredible.
all, is he?
No, he's more shallow.
Yeah.
He's a little bit different to Gifted 2. And he produces pigeons different to Gifted 2. You know?
Yeah.
You have to get the pairing right with Gifted 2, whereas with this pigeon, it doesn't matter too much.
Yeah.
John Molden saying, Gary, he's with his own racing partner, Colin Beadle. He visited Planet Brothers years ago. Then I've got another race really well up in the northeast, the Van Loons for Shield Bros of
Yeah.
Swalwell.
Yeah. Yeah, they had the shore return pigeons, which did very well for Shield Brothers, and it was they were one of the few people that.
Planet Princess. Sorry, Dad, I
That's all right.
interrupted you.
No, with Shield Brothers, I just wanted to make a mention of them. They was
This is father and daughter.
when they won a male with one of the pigeons, pigeon they called a male too. They gifted the pigeon back to us, which was a really nice gesture, and I think it was 9,000 birds. It was first from, just as a thank you for giving them the Van Loons. Yeah.
He's
What's that one, John?
This is Planet Princess.
Planet Princess.
She's actually a daughter of Spitfire, paired with Golden Princess, who was a granddaughter of 1-4. She was the number one hen on the loft. Unfortunately, she's died now, but she's the mother of this hen. But this is a race hen.
She was sent to the
She
Belgian
was sent to the Belgian Master
one-off
one-off race.
and she
was one of the highest stage pigeons in the race.
we brought her
And
back.
it was the last series, and they had a terrible final.
Yeah.
So we went there to watch the race, and I only had 2 pigeons back on the day. Unfortunately, she wasn't one of them. But so she actually returned the next day with a group of other pigeons, and we decided to bring her back.
this pigeon's so strong.
Doesn't feel like an 11 pigeon,
It's
does it?
just incredible. This pigeon, unbelievable.
Feels like yearling. He's just
He's one of my favourite pigeons because he just reminds me everything about the old Scrumpy and 1-4 pigeons. He's got Scrumpy's head and he's got 1-4's traits, you know. So he's a bit of nostalgia with him because he's what we try to reproduce every day of the week. You know, if you could reproduce pigeons like this continuously, you can't go far wrong.
It is one.
And
of
they've
the
got the
best
looks
producing
as well as
pigeons.
the racing capabilities.
yeah.
It's just
That's
when
what
you're
attracts
looking at the
people to
pedigree
it.
of the pigeons, obviously the Gifted 2 pigeon, he's a grandson of the original racecock. This is obviously is a generation down from the original golden cock, but about the pigeon, you know, it's this. You can't get much better. This is a perfect example of the Van Loon pigeons on the loft.
He has the temperament as well. He has that really timid temperament, which is
Laid back.
yeah. He just sits in his box. He don't cause no problems. He's that's typical of most of the Van Loons. They are a very timid type of family of pigeons, and sometimes that's not always the best thing, which is why we was drawn to the Rhine clock pigeons, because they've got the opposite nature. They're aggressive, so mischievous, and by putting them together with the Van Loon pigeons, it has given them that little bit more buoyancy and activity about them. Because sometimes the Van Loons could be classed as dopey, because they're just so quiet. And when you put them in the basket, they'll sit in the corner, which is good for a widowed cock. Obviously, you don't want him chasing everything about in the basket. I mean, I know 1-4 used to be a lot of people thought he was a hen because he looked like a hen, and he would just sit in the corner of the basket and mind his own business. And I think sometimes it's a good trait to have, but it's also you like to see a bit of character, and that's what you sometimes think they lack in character.
Yeah.
But what they lack in character, they make up for in racing ability. So, but yeah, he's a typical Van Loon. The colour, the light checker is typically it's either a light checker or a blue.
Yeah.
We get the odd pieds come through the old pied end of 75. That's where many of the pieds come through from, and which was one of the original 8 pigeons. And when I mentioned the 8 pigeons yesterday, we was talking about them. I said I don't think I've mentioned them all, and the pair that I forgot to mention was in actual fact the golden pair,
Yeah.
which was the golden cock and golden hen, mother and father of 1-4. And that's what all these pigeons. That's like looking at the golden pair.
Yeah.
You know, Van Loons. It's like looking at the originals.
This is the at the moment the only youngster we've moved into the breeding loft from this year, hen. We've moved a couple of cocks in, but this is the only hen. This is a daughter of Spitfire. This was from one of the early couples. He was actually paired with 3 different hens this year. The first one for racing, the other one for breeding. But this has a little bit of a cross of the old Mulliman family from Stan Van Beeman. And this, daughter of Spitfire. But we think this is going to be an exceptional pigeon.
John Weldon just commented saying crossed really well with our bush arts, won many races.
Yeah. I mean, with any inbred family, they cross with most pigeons.
Yeah.
And it doesn't surprise me that the bush arts made a good cross for them.
I just think this is so strong, this hen.
I mean, the bush arts are the most successful family of pigeons in UK history, I think, over the last 50 years, if you look at them. And it's always a shock to most Belgians to hear that name.
Yeah.
You know, I think it just shows how good many of the English fanciers are at producing quality pigeons from what the Belgians would consider to be outcast, because no one over here ever raced them.
I might be a little while, 'cause I'm just going to go to the other shed to get these the nest mate up there.
So I think it's a credit to the English fancier that the bush arts did what they did, and that it was the English fanciers that made
Just
them.
going to end the live now. We'll be back shortly. Well, John Weldon just said, lovely stamp of pigeons, very impressed, bit of edge about them.
You have to handle these pigeons, I think, to appreciate them. They're just so. They're just different.
But like, you know, he's 11 years old. He's producing pigeons like this. You know.
She's lovely as well.
And we probably won't pair her up the first year.
Yeah.
She'll be left for another year, and then we'll start breeding them. And in a year, when they mature, they change. You know, it's unfortunate you have to sell them as babies, because obviously they're not at their best. If you could leave them in a year and then sell them, it would be much easier. But they don't last on the loft very long when you've got them of that quality.
No.
They do get snapped up quite quickly.
We'll be back shortly.